How's it going, everybody? Welcome to General Hospital MV, my GH after show. Happy Super Bowl Sunday, y'all. By the time you guys watch this, the Super Bowl will probably be over, but let's pretend that I've already watched. I cannot believe that Dr. Dre, Eminem, Mary J. Blige, Snoop Dogg, and Kendrick Lamar defeated both teams and won the Super Bowl. Crazy. I am going to try to keep this one short so that I can watch the game and the halftime show, but there was a lot that happened this week, so it's going to be a challenge, but let's give it a shot. So, as you guys know, Peter managed to snatch Louise at the end of last week, which means this week, Maxie, Brooklyn, and Chase have no choice but to blow their secret sky high. Everyone had their own reactions. Ned was heartbroken that he no longer had a granddaughter, but was really proud of Brooklyn for protecting that child, for example. Fantastic scenes between Wally Kurt and Amanda Sutton, by the way. I think my favorite reaction was Robert Scorpio's. He was impressed that Maxie managed to fool everybody. I mean, y'all know that I think that she should have told her super spy and law enforcement filled family the truth, but it is what it is. I mean, if you can impress a man like Robert Scorpio, you've had to have done something right. I think my favorite part about this week was seeing all the legendary characters sort of rallying together for Mac's sake. I mean, seeing the relationships between Mac and Felicia, and Anna and Robert, and Laura and Kevin, and how they all intertwine together and have done so for so many years, it creates this magic on the screen. Because it's a reminder of the 40 some odd years of history that these characters actually have together. Speaking of which, Jeannie Francis's 45th anniversary with the show was just last week, and I think that that deserves to be celebrated. Stay tuned for more details at the end of this review. But anyway, we even got a flashback scene between Mac and Felicia from the 90s, y'all. I loved seeing those scenes. I'm so glad that Christina Wagner is on contract. She's getting really good scenes this year. Now, as for Peter August, Victor was supposed to help him get out of town this week, but Victor is tired of getting played by Peter, so he wants to just get the information about Drew, kill him off, and be done with it. Not that he succeeds, because of course he didn't. Obviously, Victor decides to do what he asks, and Charlotte wasn't kidnapped for very long, but she was kidnapped long enough for Laura and Kevin to be worried. When Charlotte gets reunited with her family, she mentions that Victor was the one who saved her, and it didn't take Laura, Anna, or Valentine, who by the way is back and okay after being held captive by Victor for 2 days himself. It doesn't take them very long to realize that Victor had aided and abetted Peter in exchange for Charlotte's whereabouts. Now, the best part of Laura putting 2 and 2 together was that we got these amazing scenes from Jeannie Francis that prove why she is the GOAT of GH. Check this out.
If I can prove you aided and abetted Peter August, you'll share his fate. Good night.
I literally burst out laughing. Jeannie is truly the goddess of GH. Hashtag Jeannie is GH. Some of you might be asking, now where is Maxie in all of this? This week, Austin realized that he may have left the trail of breadcrumbs that led Victor into discovering that Bailey was Louise, and he may have taken that information to Peter, and when Austin is honest about that to Maxie, she storms off. And then she gets a call from Peter telling her to meet him at the pier, alone of course. I'm so mad that this girl didn't even bring a knife. I'm like, really, Maxie? This guy is crazy. He gives her an ultimatum. He's like, either you leave with me and Louise, or you stay here and I take Louise and leave forever. Maxie scrambles but convinces Peter that the best option would be to leave Louise here, and she goes with Peter so that Louise can have a normal life and she doesn't have to constantly look over her shoulder because the world knows he's Peter August and they're not going to stop looking for him. She does try to convince him to let her call Brooklyn so that she can pick Louise up since she loves Louise as her own, but instead he gets Maxie to drop Louise off at a fire department so that they can just get the baby anonymously and give her a good home. Maxie does manage to leave her earring with Louise so that if people find Louise, there's at least a clue that Maxie was the one that dropped her off and that they would figure out that she is with Peter, but they had already figured that out already, so it's not going to do her much good. And of course, Peter is already 2 steps ahead of everyone. He knew that everyone was going to be looking for him at the pier and decides to take a car instead of a boat that Victor left him. Something tells me we're not going to see Maxie and Peter for a while, just to prolong the story even longer than it already has been, and that frustrates me to no end. But I refuse to rant this week because I don't have time. Let's talk about Sonny and Nina. Predictably, when Carly doesn't show up to the Haunted Star and Nina does, Sonny and Nina jump into bed together, and then not long after that, Carly shows up to the Haunted Star and catches them in the act. Nina was humiliated, Sonny was flabbergasted, and Carly was Carly. Carly called Sonny out for his feelings for Nina, and Sonny clapped back with Carly having feelings for Jason, and Carly stormed off and said that they were through. Carly runs to the Quartermains in search of Michael, and she finds Drew instead, just chilling at the boathouse, which has a bed in it for some reason. She tells Drew what happened, and Drew tells her about the conversation that he had just had with Sam, where she admitted that she was in love with Dante and wants a future with him all of a sudden, even though we were seeing that she was apparently torn last week for a minute. What was the point of that? For a split second, it seemed like Carly and Drew were about to jump into bed together, but Carly actually stopped things before they escalated. Thank goodness. The next day is Valentine's Day in Port Charles, and Carly is ready to meet with a divorce lawyer. She and Sam discuss what happened the night before with Nina, and Sam says that it's probably in her best interest to not react on impulse with the situation and just to see where things could be with her and Sonny. Carly insists that she is just exploring all of her options, but Sam points out to Carly that if Sonny got wind that she was meeting with a divorce lawyer, that it could devastate him and really make the relationship a done deal and over with. Sure enough, Carly's assistant made a mistake, and instead of putting it in Carly's personal calendar, she put it in the kids' calendar, which goes to both Sonny and her. And Sonny, who is at Charlie's with Phyllis, talking about everything but the fact that he had sex with Nina the night before, he sees the notification on the calendar and he is devastated. I had to laugh at Sonny telling Phyllis the whole story except for the sex part. Let's see how long that lasts. Nina had gone over to Ava's house to tell her what happened, and Ava couldn't have been more thrilled. And Nina was like, "Are you kidding me? This is humiliating." Gotta love Maura West though. And anyway, Nina goes over to Charlie's, because of course she does, and sees Sonny and Phyllis talking. I bet you Nina will let it slip. That is how they end Friday's episode, but the stupidest part is that at the bottom of the screen they put the words "to be continued." I'm like, yeah, it's a soap opera. Of course it will continue. I guess the show is trying to make this Valentine's Day two-parter like a really special one-off sort of thing, but realistically it was the least interesting episode of the entire week. Y'all, we are in the middle of sweeps. The only thing that we, the audience, want at this point is for you guys to end the Peter story and to kill him off. That is all we have been asking for years. Y'all can do it, but y'all are wasting our time with this episode. Now, having said that, there were actually some good parts of the Valentine's Day episode, so let's get into those things. We got to see Amy and her brother Chet, who we haven't seen in ages. They typically bring Chet out whenever they want to bring up like veterans and military into the show, and this week they are having a drive in the hospital where people are donating clothes to veterans and their families. But that is not the only reason why Chet appears to be here. Terry is getting ready for her first blind date with the guy that she matched up with on the app. Apparently they've been talking for a couple weeks and they know everything about each other except for what they look like. Honest to God, I could never, ever go on a blind date. Like, that just seems so scary to me. This app that Portia found seems sketchy to me. Terry's getting ready for her date in the locker room and runs into Elizabeth, and she sees Elizabeth donating her former wedding dress that she married Franco in to the box, and she pulls it out to see it, and the dress is shredded to pieces. Elizabeth is very shocked and upset, but Terry is willing to cancel her date. Elizabeth clearly doesn't want that for her friend, so she lies and plays it off as she took it to the dry cleaners and it got torn and she forgot about it so that Terry could go on her date. So Terry leaves to go for her date at Charlie's, and the only thing that she knows is that her date will be in a teal shirt, and when she gets there, the guy in the teal shirt is Chet. Now, I'm holding reservations because I feel like there's potential that Chet is just a red herring for whoever her date is supposed to be. I'll hold judgment. Like, I'm here for Chet and Terry. Like, I'd be down with that, but I don't know if I'm convinced yet. We'll see. Now, going back to Elizabeth for a second, I'm trying to figure out the story because we're seeing that the ring is appearing in random places, and now the dress is shredded. It's almost like someone is mad that Elizabeth is moving on from Franco, and the only possible explanation I have that makes sense is that maybe Heather Weber is lurking around. I mean, we haven't seen her in such a long time. We certainly haven't seen her since Franco died. We don't know what her reaction was. We don't know when she found out, if she found out. It would make sense for her to see Elizabeth moving on with Finn so quickly as betrayal. I mean, that's classic Heather Weber thinking. That's my theory anyway. Let me know what your theories are in the comments below. Another cute moment from Friday's episode was that Portia and Taggart were trying to give Trina a bit of a pep talk because they've seen that she's been upset since returning from the cabin. Taggart is being played by a recast right now, but honestly, they go back and forth between the original and a recast so often with Taggart that I don't care anymore. Either way, the actor this week did such a great job. He had some great lines and was having great delivery throughout the whole episode. When he hears that Spencer has a girlfriend, he goes into shock and he's like, "What?" And then when he hears that his girlfriend's name is Esme, he's just like, I'm sorry, what's her name? And they're like, Esme. And he's like, wait, what? They're just like, Esme. It was so funny. But yeah, Trina does kind of fill them in on what happened at the cabin. She doesn't go into details, but she just says that Esme played a mean girl prank on her and that it upset her. Portia points out that Esme is clearly jealous, and Trina's like, you think? I'm like, girl, of course. The girl has practically a neon sign over her head saying that she is jealous of yours and Spencer's friendship. But anyway, that wraps things up for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned this Wednesday on Dion's Corner. We're going to be doing a GHMV Reacts live in honor of the great Jeannie Francis. We're going to be watching some classic clips of her. If you guys have any suggestions on what clips we should watch of the infamous Laura, then let me know in the comments below. And if you liked this video, give it a big old thumbs up, subscribe if you want to, and I will catch you guys next time. Happy Super Bowl Sunday, y'all. Peace out.